Skyscraper is out. The latest Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson action movie where it's basically like Die Hard in a giant skyscraper. Basically, I mean, I'm pretty sure that might have been exactly what they said in the pitch meeting when the people who wrote and came up with this idea pitched it to studio executives. Let's make an action movie that's like Die Hard, but it's in a giant, one-of-a-kind skyscraper. And let's hire somebody, a really big star to be in it that people love and will go to see. Like Dwayne Johnson. That'll work, right? And so now fast forward in time and here we are. Skyscraper is out in theaters and we can all go see it. I have seen Skyscraper. What do I think of it? I think it's a decent movie. Not great, not bad. It's very silly. It's exactly the kind of movie you expected to see from the previews. And if you like movies like this, and if you like Dwayne Johnson movies like Rampage, and I don't know, he's made a gajillion of them already that are kind of like this, like mid-level action movies. Rampage, I liked Rampage, by the way. You will like Skyscraper. Dwayne Johnson plays like a retired FBI agent, or I think he was some kind of government agent, I forget. But he is injured. There's like a bomb explosion in his past, and it ruins one of his legs, and he has to use a prosthetic limb to replace the bottom part of his leg, like from the knee down. And that is a big, part of the movie, and a lot of the stuff that happens later, him having a prosthetic leg is part of something he has to work around or use to his advantage when terrorists, attack. But I'm getting ahead of myself. But anyways, after that explosion, he enters a new phase of his career with the prosthetic limb, and he becomes a security assessor. And he is hired to assess a building called the Pearl in China, which is the tallest building in the world. It's like a vertical city. It's a huge skyscraper with all this cool, like state-of-the-art, like futuristic stuff in it. And it's like a place all these people will be able to live in and work in. And it's really tall, the tallest building ever. And he's there to assess, and he brings his family with him. His wife, played by Neve Campbell, and their 2 kids. They're all there, and they have a place to stay in the building while he does his work. And then I think it's for insurance reasons. He's supposed to check it out to make sure nothing's wrong with it, and then pass his insurance, and then I guess he's supposed to leave. But while he's there, of course, some terrorists want to attack the building to get some device that the billionaire who made the building and is in the building right now, they want from him. And so they hack into the building and do all this horrible stuff. And basically, Dwayne Johnson has to wind up defeating the terrorists and saving the billionaire and his family when all this horrible stuff happens in the skyscraper. And there we have our movie. Now, this movie is basically Die Hard light. Now, depending on what kind of film goer you are, that's either a good or a bad thing. Now, even though it's definitely in the Die Hard vein of movies, it is surprisingly, watching it, I never felt like it was a copy of Die Hard. Definitely inspired by it and definitely in that same, family of movies. But it did feel like it had its own thing in mind, its own stuff going on. And I think they did that on purpose. Making the movie, I think all the Die Hard movies, at least the first one, took place in America. This one's in Hong Kong, and it's in a giant state-of-the-art skyscraper. So it does have different things cosmetically to give it a different kind of feel than the old Die Hard movie. And it takes place, I think, like 25 or 30 years later. So, of course, a movie that takes place that far after it, its spiritual predecessor, is going to feel different anyway. Now, there's a lot of explosions, a lot of death. It's definitely the kind of movie you expect. There's no surprises in this movie at all. You know exactly how this movie is going to be when you start it, and it finishes the same way. And, the movie got a lot of, playful flack, I think, initially for some physics-defying things that Dwayne Johnson did. Like, there's this jump he does from, this crane to a broken window. And, I think if you were to calculate it any kind of way, he would fall to his death. But in the movie, he makes it because it's an action movie, a silly action movie. So there's a lot of stuff there's a lot of things that he does, and you're kind of like, are you serious? Like, whatever. But that's pretty much traditional in action movies. Action movies always have the protagonist doing stuff that would never work in real life. The biggest selling point in this movie is Dwayne Johnson's performance. As usual, he's very likable and charming and empathetic. I mean, I think the whole reason they gave him... There are 2 things in the movie that are supposed to make you... that are supposed to bring out, I guess, the sensitive, empathetic side in Dwayne Johnson's character. It's the fact that he has a handicap and that he has to protect his family, including 2 little kids. And, we get to see, I guess, the softer side of Dwayne Johnson in this movie. And it also gives him a chance, I think, to do a bit more, slightly deeper acting than we're used to Dwayne Johnson doing. And I think maybe this is to, I guess, up his thespian skills, maybe to get him ready because he's going to be playing Black Adam in DC, starring in his own movie, playing a very complex supervillain. So he's getting his training wheels off. Eventually, he's going to have to get his training wheels off to be able to play that role, right? So, if you like mid-level action movies and you like Dwayne Johnson, you should see Skyscraper. But if that is not enough for you and you need your action movies to be top of the line, then maybe you could sit this one out. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like it on YouTube and subscribe to the channel because I appreciate your viewership, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.